Jacobs, the Balance Doctor. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of the Kim Jacobs Show. Be sure to subscribe to the Kim Jacobs Show right on YouTube. Turn on your notification bell to all so you never miss a beat. And guess what? Every time you watch, you're going to receive a real relevant and relatable guest that's going to share with you a piece of the puzzle on this journey called life that will help you be able to manage just a little bit smoother. At the end of the day, the Kim Jacobs Show goal is to be able to provide balance to the world, one household at a time.
Kim Jacobs Show. You're watching Kim Jacobs Show.
Hello, everyone, and yes, it is the Kim Jacobs Show. I am so glad to have with me in the studio today, Shelia Murphy. How are you today, Shelia?
I'm great, Miss Kim. I hope you are.
I am. I'm so glad. Listen, yesterday we had a big glitch right here on Facebook, Instagram, and all of these different social media platforms. There was a huge outage, right? And it happened right in the middle of my show yesterday. So you're talking about flipping out, Shelia. I was thinking, okay, Kim, this is happening and it's taking the entire screen. So all I could see were notifications popping up on the screen saying, we're having a problem, a glitch with Facebook. And I kept trying to talk through it like, well, anyway, and I tried to act like I didn't see, but it's like some type of virus taking over your entire screen.
I understand.
It was so bizarre. Wow. So I maintained my professionalism and my composure, but I was like, what is all of this? Can they see me? Is it glitching? Is it cutting out? It was crazy. But
you made it through.
Thank goodness they got it under control. But obviously, that's a good question for today, too. What would you do without Facebook and Instagram? Would you be able to function? Would your life just call it quits? That would never be the case. Right?
I know, right? Yes. We all depends on Facebook and social media.
Yes, but we shouldn't depend on it so much so that we don't go back to the old school method. Like my mom, she sends birthday cards and she sends letters to people in the mail. And those things, yesterday, a person that she had sent a letter to was holding it up, Shelia, and you could tell the man was so honored. He's probably like in his late 80s or so. Aww. He was so honored to receive that physical piece of mail.
Oh.
And so you don't know what it would do to someone. I'm only talking about this because of the whole Facebook outage yesterday, right?
Yes.
But you don't know what that means for somebody to physically receive a card or to physically receive a letter. It can make or brighten that person's day. So I say that to say, don't be so dependent on all of the social media outlets that we can't forget our human touch.
Exactly. And that's how we get caught up in the situations, can't remember people's phone numbers because we have depended on social media, the computers and everything else. Whereas before, I mean, we used to know to get the pen and piece of paper and write down, what's your phone number? Write it down and just go from there. But like you said, hey, social media and technology has gotten us away from all of that. So definitely going back to the old school of doing things is definitely a good idea.
Absolutely. Well, listen, everybody, today we're talking with Shelia Murphy, and Shelia Murphy is a woman that wears many hats, lots of titles and degrees and different things that she's quite proud of. Don't get me wrong. She's quite proud of those things. But when we talked about me receiving her bio today, because I was like, hey, I don't see the bio. I don't see the bio. She said, no. You know, even though I have matriculated and I've done all of these wonderful things in my career, today I'm here to talk about my story. And her story is what she's going to share today here on the Kim Jacobs Show. So it's a story that only she can tell. We can only tell our stories like no one else can. And so all of the bios and introductions go down to this one thing. Shelia Murphy, our guest here on the Kim Jacobs Show, is here to talk to domestic violence, women and survivors, men, it doesn't matter. If you're dealing with some type of domestic violence situation, this woman today is going to open up and share her candid story of where she's come from and where she is today. And so welcome, Shelia Murphy.
Thank you again, Ms. Kim Jacobs, for having me on your show. It's definitely a pleasure to be on your show this morning, to be able to open up and tell my story.
Well, thank you. And she is available for speaking engagements. So I say that up front. I'll say in the middle of the show and the end that you can definitely reach out to her directly at 980-477-7869. Again, Sheila Murphy, 980-477-7869. This is going to be, I think, the first time that she's shared this level of detail of her story. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I know that some of you that'll be watching as you tag your friends, your family, some of these things you may not have ever heard, and even though you may have been connected with her along her journey. So I just ask in advance that you just, have compassion and empathy and understanding that, and I don't even know her story. So it's not like I'm telling you to have all of this because I know what she's about to share. I don't know. But what I do know is that all of us have a piece of our story and pieces of our lives that we hold really tight to our chest because we don't always want everyone to know everything. And then people do look at you differently. And people are not always empathetic. They're judgmental and hard and harsh and critical. And especially if you have children and family members and other people involved, you don't know how your story is going to impact their stories. And it's so many pieces to the puzzle, right, Sheila?
Yes. Yes, it is.
So why haven't you shared your story up until this point before we even get into your story?
Actually, on this is the level that I have not shared my story as far as being on podcasts.
Okay.
But as far as doing, I have spoken at church events and actually doing some support groups. I don't mind at all sharing my story because since we're talking about it, I did a speaking engagement at a local church, and I told my story, and maybe a year later. I walked into a store, and to have people just walk up to you that you don't know, a total stranger,
Right.
not always comfortable. However, I was in the store, and this lady walked up to me, and she said, "Oh, can I hug you?" And I mean, of course, feeling her out, and I'm like, "Okay." And she hugged me, and she stepped back, and she looked at me, and she said, "You just don't know how you blessed me." And I was looking at her like, "Bless you." She said, "You came to my church and you told your story of domestic violence, and everything that you said the whole time, I kept hunching my mom like, that's my story, that's my story, that's what happened to me, that's what happened to me."
Hmm.
And I always wanted to be able to tell you, she said, because, after the service and everything, everybody started, coming around you and everything. And I just didn't get a chance to get close to you. She said, "But I never forgot you." She said, "But I do want you to know that you blessed me. You blessed me so much," and blessed her to the point where she did walk out of that abusive relationship that she was in.
So you
Yeah,
don't know how impactful your story is until
right.
someone comes forward and says, "Your story changed my life."
Yes,
And that's
yes.
that's what you encountered in that store. That's a blessing. And
It
how did
was a
that make you feel? How did that make you feel to know? Because you don't know until you know.
right. So one thing I can say is that while going through my domestic violence issues or relationship with my husband, ex-husband, um, and I never prayed as hard as I prayed during those course of my life. And I prayed and I prayed and I asked God. I said, "God, if you do anything, if you do anything for me, please get me out of this the abusive relationship alive.
Mm,
And if you get me out, I promise you that I will never, ever, and I will not be ashamed telling my story and how I got out." Um, I will say that one of the things that was very passionate to me was the fact that I was able to get out and alive. And during the time that I was going through my domestic violence issues or relationship with my ex, it was during the time that it just seemed like every female that was on the news
mm.
had gotten killed.
Well,
So I, was just praying and asking God for a whole year. I would say that I planned my getaway, and I didn't confide in my family. I didn't confide in no one, but I had one particular person that knew exactly what my mood was going to be.
Don't tell us who that is yet until we come back after this commercial break,
Okay.
because we're talking today with Sheila Murphy, and we're going to find out what transpired at the level that she wants to share us, and who that one person was that she confided in, and what how she was able to get out. So we're gonna deep dive into this topic a little bit more throughout today's broadcast. But I do want you to know, from a statistical standpoint, thank you, Cassandra, for putting this up. If you want to definitely let me go here and go to the specific statistic that I wanted to share with you. 72% of all murder suicides involve an intimate partner. 94% of the victims of these crimes are females. That's an alarming statistic. This is like a epidemic type of, this is extremely high numbers. 72% of all murder suicides involve an intimate partner, and 94% of those victims of these crimes are females. So usually the woman it doesn't end well for her in 94% of those cases. And another statistic, this is kind of going to cover our screen a little bit, but we're going to put this up. Did you know that one in three women and 1 in 4 men have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner? On a typical day, domestic violence hotlines receive approximately 21,000 calls, approximately 15 calls every minute. Intimate partner violence accounts for 15% of all violent crimes, and abusers' access to firearms increase the risk of the intimate partner femicide at least 5-fold. When firearms have been used in the most severe abuse incident, the risk increased 41-fold. That's unbelievable. So everybody, we know that this is real. This is not something that someone's just saying, oh, I can't believe she's coming on here telling her story. This is happening like every minute in the United States, around the world. We cannot just let this happen without bringing some resolution and some solutions to it for people, so that people can live. It's a matter literally of life and death. Cassandra also put the hotline up at some point too, for people that are experiencing domestic violence and may want some immediate help. And we'll make sure we put that up. But right after this commercial break, we're going to talk more with Sheila Murphy about her personal experience and what she's overcome. And today's episode is sponsored by the Snow Legal Group. They are in the Charlotte area, and they're also in the South Carolina area. So if you're in the North Carolina or South Carolina area, you definitely want to reach out to attorney Kenneth D. Snow and his group. They are eager to serve you and to help you through a case that you may be dealing with. And they have some significant victories in their hat. 704-358-0026. info@snowlegal.com. 704-358-0026. info@snowlegal.com. Let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show did send you their way. Let's learn more about them now.
I'm attorney Kenneth D. Snow, and at the Snow Legal Group, justice is our job.
For more than 20 years, Attorney Snow has been fighting for justice and winning cases in the Carolinas by providing aggressive representation in criminal defense, domestic violence, family law, serious injury, and wrongful death. If you've been injured or lost a loved one in an accident, including tractor trailer or rideshare, you need the Snow Legal Group by your side, fighting for justice and fighting for you. Visit snowlegal.com. Call 704-358-0026 for a free virtual consultation, located at 6827 Fairview Road, Suite D in South Park.
And we are back. We're talking with Sheila Murphy today. Sheila, take us back on your journey.
Okay, my journey started. I actually was born and raised in, I don't mind, Orangeburg, South Carolina. And I was graduated, and then I went to college in Columbia, South Carolina. Went to Benedict College. While attending Benedict College, I went into criminal justice, and of course, learning a little bit about law, we did talk about domestic violence and things like that. But in my mind, it was just studies, and I never ever dreamed or thought that I would be actually a victim. While in college, I actually met a gentleman that I was very fond of. He kept me laughing. He wined, he dined me. He did all those wonderful things. And of course, I just thought that, hey, this was the guy. So about a year and a half into the marriage or what, I mean, into the dating part of it, he asked me to marry him. And I said, yes. I married him. Then once we got married, it was a situation well, before we got married, the week actually before we got married, he came over to the house. My brother and I was there, and there was a gentleman there that was a good friend of my brother's, and we actually sitting in the family room, and we were laughing and we were having fun. And he asked me, he said, let's go for a walk. So I said, okay. Now, mind you, let's go back. This is a week before the wedding.
Now, who is this? Somebody asked you to go for a walk. Who was this?
My ex-husband.
Okay, so he said, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, the ex-husband asked me to go for a walk.
Now, wait, stop for a second. Stop for a second, because I want to make sure, leading up to this, the week before the marriage, there were no signs, to my understanding. Or
Well,
were there?
I can say now, yes, there were signs. But before, I could not say that there were any signs. I didn't see anything. I was just so excited that, hey, because I was a goal-oriented person.
Right.
So I was going, hey, okay, so by the age of 25, yes, I met this goal. I'm getting ready to get married. So I was just excited. But there were red flags, but I just ignored all of them.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. So we actually went for that walk. And I remember him asking me, so who's that? Who's that in the house? And, I told him, I said, well, that's my brother's friend. And I can remember it as if it was yesterday. He said, well, you were laughing. So he said, I don't believe you. He said, I think that's your man. And I was like, what are you talking about? I said, we're about to be married in a week. So I'm not interested in this, this gentleman. And he was like, oh, yes. And he slapped me.
A week before the wedding.
A week before the wedding.
Okay. And you made it very clear, expressly clear, this is not somebody that I'm interested in. He's here with my brother. But yes. Of course, we're all buddies. So he said something funny. It's funny.
Yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
And he hauls off and slaps you in the face.
Yeah. Down the street from the house. Down the street from the house. So he slapped me. Not only did he slap me, he called me some derogatory names, and made me, continue to walk and dry your face up. Why are you crying? So I had to dry my face up because, of course, I didn't want to go back to the house and was, crying because I know my brother. I know what would have happened. Okay. So again, a week before the wedding, in my head, I kept saying, okay, so maybe I don't know what I did. I really don't know what I did. So of course he was like, because I told him, look, you got to go. I don't want to see you anymore and this kind of thing. Right. So he said to me, well, Sheila, don't say that. So he called me back that night and he said, Sheila, I'm so sorry. He said, I didn't get a chance to listen to your story. And, so forgive me, this won't happen again.
Okay. So, stop right there for a minute. Cause this is all like, who would not forgive their person that's the fiance? You get ready to get married. It's a week before the marriage. Yes. Maybe he's stressed. Maybe he's a little bit on edge because I'm about to be his wife. And so of course I'm going to forgive him. Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I did forgive him. And up until the wedding, he was the perfect future husband to be.
Because now he's on his best behavior,
he's
right?
On the best behavior. Yes, he's on the best behavior. Behavior. So during that time when we got married and
But before you do that, because I know I'm stopping you, but it's some good little nuggets here. Did any family member, how sometimes, and this is just, I'm brainstorming as if it's a Lifetime movie type of thing. I don't know. But you know how people try and be like, hey, Sheila, come here, girl. you don't want to do this. I mean, I don't know. I'm asking, did any family members or friends of his or anybody say, don't do this for your own sake? You're goal oriented. You're a woman of purpose. You're in law school. You da da da. You don't want to do this because he's not going to tell you X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Did anybody do that?
The bad part was nobody told me. No
Did
one.
they know?
They knew, because the woman that he was involved with before me, he was beating her up. And this is just has been a cycle for him. But I knew nothing about it until, like I said, after I married him. Actually, I would say the week after we got married, I later found out that he beat that woman up as well. So it just was really a challenging thing for me. I didn't, first of all, when I got married, I was that individual that believed in my vows until death do us part.
Right.
And I noticed that he began to just say all kind of things to me, but getting a little personal, he really stopped being intimate with me like maybe a month after we got married. He would work all the time. He would come home, but he still was not, intimate with me at all. And that went on for about maybe a good 2 months or 3 months into the marriage. And then we moved. But I noticed what he started doing was he started beginning to separate me from my family. Like going to family functions and stuff like that. He always had some type of issue with me going to the family functions. So of course, once again, I believed in my marriage vows. I believed in my marriage. Of course, I was a family person, but still my husband, my husband. So I didn't really have a full-time job at that time that was professional. I worked at Burger King. So I actually got a job at South Carolina Department of Corrections. And I became an officer. His idea of me getting a job was to work on a vending truck, going around putting potato chips into various machines and stuff like that. And I was like, no. I said, that's not why I went to college.
Right.
I'm not doing that. So that's when I can pinpoint, that's when the abuse mentally, emotionally started.
Interesting. So when you actually took a stand that I became an educated woman to do this, and I'm going to put my degree to use, and this is how I'm going to put my degree to use. I'm not going to support a vending franchise type of situation because that's not for me.
Correct.
I want to stand up for what I was going to be before I even became your wife, right?
Exactly.
And so once you took that stance, some things started to spiral, and we're going to find out how that happened right after we take this break. Lamb Funeral Home, everyone, is one of today's episode sponsors here on the Kim Jacobs Show. If you are looking for a caring funeral home service, then definitely reach out to them at 704-782-3011, or you can visit them at lambfuneral.com. Let me let you see their website so you'll learn more about them. They are eager for their family to serve yours, and they are located in the Concord, North Carolina area, but they're certified in all 50 states. So if you're looking to learn from a caring funeral home company that provides you with details about veteran benefits, because the owner himself is a veteran and they have over 28 years of experience, as well as learning just the basics of what to expect. What are some of the immediate needs that you need to deal with? Over 700,000 people have passed away due to COVID. So I know in this world that people are in dire need of funeral home service care. What are some funeral pre-planning things that need to happen? Definitely reach out to them at 704-782-3011 and let them know that the Kim Jacobs Show sent you their way. All right, so we're talking right now with Shelia. And Shelia, I'm very grateful for you taking the time to open up and share your story at this level, because this is the only way that the Kim Jacobs Show gets the opportunity to provide balance to the world. Just by providing a missing piece of a puzzle that might be missing in someone else's life, they're able to put that piece together from your story. So thank you for doing this today. I really appreciate it. And I do encourage you all to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed to the Kim Jacobs Show on our YouTube channel, make sure you just take a moment after today's broadcast, go and subscribe, turn the notification bell to all. And when we go live Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, you'll be right here in the virtual studio audience. All right. So Shelia, you realized that this was going to become a lot more than what you had bargained for.
Yes.
You signed up with a man that you felt, according to what you're saying, tricked you and made you think one thing was going to happen, but that wasn't at all how it was really going to be. Started to distance himself from you and started to separate you from your family members, encouraging you to do a business that he wanted you to do versus you pursuing your educational goals and implementing those. Okay, take it away some more. Tell us what else happened.
Okay, so while working at Department of Corrections, of course, I started out at a male institution, a maximum institution in Columbia, South Carolina.
Okay.
And it was a situation where every day when I came home, it was always something about me being involved with the inmates or me being involved with the officers or what have you every day. And I was, at a point where I'm always defending myself. I'm like, that's not true. I'm working, I'm doing this. And I got quickly promoted. While there, I went from the actual general population to a specified unit within the prison system, which was with mentally ill and substance abuse inmates. And he knew all of that.
Right.
However, that's when the abuse started. He accused me of, sleeping around with the superior people there. And I started getting beat on a regular every day. One of the incidents occurred where he beat me so bad until I actually had black eyes. So the inmate has nothing to do all day but think. So 24/7, I would go into, work and I would be abused, all beat up, bruised up. But the very last time he beat me, I had, black eyes and I was walking around with shades on. So the actual chief captain at the time actually pulled me from the tunnel and put me, in the front area of the prison. However, he began to start calling the prison. This was, working up to the actual really bad beatings. Just calling the prison, making threats and this kind of thing. So I actually became pregnant. And that kind of stopped a little bit because he was like, even though he was saying that it wasn't his child, but the beatings and everything stopped for a little bit. So I actually, thought that, hey, everything is getting better here, But once again, let me go back. I never told my family what I was going through. Never.
And nobody ever knew anything except for this captain person?
Well, the job knew what was going on, but I had one specific person, she's now deceased, that knew everything that was going on in my life. One incident, and I'm, moving forward. Well, I actually had given birth to the baby, and I had just came home from work, and this particular evening, my girlfriend came down, and we were spending time together. And for whatever reason, I don't know, because then he started accusing me of going with my friend. It was always something. It was always something that I did, and I always was trying to, justify this and then justify that. However, this particular day, she and I were supposed to go out somewhere.
Right.
And he actually, and I'm gonna share this part because my family, this is the first time I'm even saying this. He actually came outside with the shotgun, and my friend, she was screaming and hollering, and she was like, "Shelia, let's go, let's go." Well, we couldn't get the car started, but before we could get the car started, he actually came to me and he put the gun in my mouth, and he told me, he said, "I'm going to kill you today." My friend was begging him. I was, trying to beg with the gun in my mouth, but he said beg. So I actually begged not to, not to kill me because I had my baby, and I didn't want to leave her like that. And once again, um, when he actually decided that he was going to, not kill me or whatever, my girlfriend and I left. Now,
And
mind
was your
you,
child there?
yes, the child was there.
So the child
She's still,
witnessed.
yeah,
Witnessed.
but she was, yeah. And the thing about it is, the oldest child, she was the kid that witnessed a lot of the
So you have
abuse.
multiple children at this point.
Yes, with him. No, at that time, this is when we initially got married. So like 87 is when the baby born. And she was about a year old. So yeah, she witnessed all that. So I did leave him and ended up coming back to him again because he was like, I'm not gonna do it anymore. Seemed like every time I left and came back, I got pregnant. So I got pregnant when I came back. Um,
Oh my
and the
gosh.
beatings and stuff still continued. We moved up to his family in his area.
Hmm.
And I remember I had another girlfriend that I went to school with that stayed where we lived at right around the corner. So I said to him, I said, hey, I said, I'm going around to my friend's house. I said, I'll be back. So he said, okay, no problem. When I came back, again, that was the worst beating of my life. And at that time, his cousins and his other family members were staying in the house with us. And
They witnessed it?
yeah, and nobody helped because he was known to be a violent person. Now, mind you, let's go back to something that you said earlier. That's when little pieces from the family members started sharing that he was abusive. Nothing before that.
Okay. Wow. So now this is Sheila Murphy's story of her own story of triumph over surviving domestic violence and being here to live to tell her story. I'm not adding anything to the story, taking anything away from it. It's just simply a platform for her to share what happened to her in hopes that it will help you that's watching that may know someone that's dealing with domestic violence and you just don't really know what to do. Because I want to ask that question for a second, Sheila. Like your friend, she was a friend. She knew everything. She was there to help you, to be there for you the way you needed her to be there for you. But
Yes.
what can people do that are on the outside and you know this person is going through a domestic violence situation? What can a person do to help in that case from your perspective?
One of the things that I always emphasize when I come in contact with other women that's going through domestic violence, and I know that they have a friend or whatever, and even myself, is crucial. It's very important that the outsider do not put that victim into a dangerous situation. My friend and I began to develop codes, talk, in riddles, not so much in a riddle, but talk where he could not understand exactly what, we were talking about. So it was like, that was necessary. So one of the things I am going to say is that the person, or once you find out that a person is going through domestic violence, it's crucial that you respect that person, understand that, hey,
Right.
at this time, and people have a tendency to think that, oh, this is something she want to go through, or this is something he wants to go through. No, it's nothing that you want to go through.
Right.
But there's a lot of factors that everybody talk about that keeps you from leaving at the time. So that's what my girlfriend was. My girlfriend was my sounding board. And she understood why I wasn't leaving, and she understood why I didn't tell my family exactly what I was going through, because I did not want any issues. And I just wanted to work it out myself.
Wow. So coming up with codes, that's a good point. If we could type that, that'd be great. Coming up with some codes that you can share with a very close friend so that they understand what phase of your domestic violence that you're in and how they can help and when help is needed and what kind of help is needed. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, and then another thing that I did not do, but I share with victims now, is that it's crucial that you keep spare driver's license, spare social security cards, If you have children, try not to leave that stuff in the house, or take it to somebody's house where you can easily make access to it, because or if you can get a spare key, which chances are, if he's going to do anything, when in my situation, when I actually got to the point where I had already had all three of my children and I needed to flee, it was always he would take my keys. He would always take my pocketbook. And the reason for that is because you got a pocketbook and you got your money in your pocketbook. So I always suggest and recommend that, hey, you take your key, you have get a spare key. Wow. If you don't get because I also had a bank account that he knew about, but if you can secretly get a bank account, do that, or go somewhere and have either have a family member or whomever to oh Jesus, I'm sorry. Have a family member to keep your money, or a friend to just hold that money for you. Make the plan to get away, and that's what I did. I made a plan for 1 year without my family knowing what was going on. That friend that I talked about, she died, and there was another individual that became a sounding board for me that worked in the prison system. He knew exactly what my plan was. And I was put in a situation, Ms. Kim, where I was forced to actually make the move because, as I said, I prayed, and I said, God, you have got to get me out of this. But even in the midst of that, it was a situation where by the way he walked in the house, I could tell by the way he closed the door, I knew it was going to be an issue. I always tried to, meet him at the door, as a wife or whatever, but I just got tired. So, again, one of the things that while I was an officer, I learned a lot while I was there. I learned a lot. And one of the things that I learned was that if I had to defend myself and my children, that I would be okay. So this friend, this particular day, I had told my friend, I said, look, tonight is the night, because I got tired. And you get to a point where you get tired of being tired, or tired of being tired. So I was tired of getting beat every day by this man. Not only that, I started doing paper trails. I started calling the police. It didn't even matter. If I felt like when I got home, I called the police and the police would show up. I called the police so much until the police got to know me personally. He got to know my address personally. And I did have a plan. And the
were they
plan
receptive? Were they receptive to coming?
Oh, yes.
And so every time you called, were they ever like, you know what? Come on, Sheila. Is this real this time? Or were they like, whoop, there?
No, because after when they showed up, it was always probably the night before. I always had a bruise on me to show them. It was always fresh bruises. So they would believe me. But the thing about it is that they wouldn't, you go and you try to put restraining orders and that kind of thing, against the individual. But at the time, I didn't do any of that because I had an escape plan.
Right.
My escape plan initially was not the best plan because I was going to get rid of him. That was my plan. I was mentally destroyed. And the only thing, again, that kept me from doing that is because that one friend said to me that if you do that, I'm going to tell your mother. I look and when he said that, something snapped, and I looked at my children and I said, if I get rid of him, what's going to happen to my three children? So that's when the friend said, hey, Sheila, you have got to get out of here. You have got to get out. So actually that week that I was actually in the process of moving, once again, my family didn't even know that I was making all these plans. I've gone to outside agencies to get into public housing, and additional services, any services, because, hey, I was getting it out, but he knew nothing about it because I used another address, for things to be forwarded to. But I actually, the night before, he came to me and say, Sheila, I'm tired. I just want us to be able to get along. I want our marriage to work. So I said, okay. But my plan was at 4 a.m., because he was a milkman. At 4 a.m., when the milkman walked out the door, my stuff was going to be ready. The friend that helped, that was in my life, I made the phone call.
Wow.
I talked to him the whole time that I was moving, because again, I could not make an error, no mistake, because one of the things, again, that I was saying that was scary to me, but the fact that every woman that was in a domestic violence relationship during that 2-week or 3-week period up to the time that I left did not make it out. They got killed.
Jeez. Okay. Stop right there. And when we come back, we're going to hear our audience, because a lot of people have been chiming in. So if you have questions, comments, thoughts, go ahead and type them in the comment section. We're going to answer some of those questions and comments. And we're going to hear from Shelia Murphy as to what was her final escape route plan. What did she do on that night that she got out and is now able today to be here on the Kim Jacobs Show to share her story. Today's episode is sponsored by attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. They're located in Alabama. They're also located in the North Carolina area and in the Richmond, Virginia area. Phone number is 704-377-9157. You can also reach them at hunter-everidge.com. Now, Attorney Everidge's group, they focus heavily on workers' compensation, Social Security disability, wrongful death of family members. We're going to learn more about them now. We're going to come right back after this break.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
Everyone, we are back with Shelia Murphy, and thank you so much, Shelia. I know this is difficult to be sharing this level of detail of your story, and I say that so but because nobody can say it right when they have not experienced what you're experiencing. So no matter how empathetic or compassionate or whatever I try to come across as, it means nothing. It just means nothing. I just know, because I know from personal experience some of the stuff that I've experienced, that people can do everything they can, because we only know to do what we know to do to help people in situations and circumstances. And we're grateful. Everybody's grateful for what people do attempt to do, but it's still, at the end of the day, it doesn't do anything inside of you and what you're experiencing. I know.
Right.
I know. So, okay, so let's go to some of the studio audience comments, and I want to make sure. Let me see if I can use my little magnifying glass. My mom bought me a magnifying glass. She's like, Kim, you either need to stop putting them glasses at the tip of your nose or something. She bought me some cuter glasses. She trying, poor thing. I don't know that. Oh yeah, that's good right there. Oh yeah. All right, Mom, this is really good. All right, so. Oh yeah, okay. So Miss Chris says God was definitely with you and covering you and your children. And anything that a studio audience member says that you want to address, feel free or to acknowledge in any way you choose. Wow. Anita Gordon says, very good information. This is very good information. Wanda G says, very good information. Thank you so much, Wanda. And let's go up to some of the other studio audience comments. I've seen quite a few coming in. Oh, this person says, Donna says, Shelia Murphy, thank you so much for sharing your story. Yes, more comments that have come in. Wow, okay. So I see Destine says, this is great. I am glad you were able to get out of the situation. You don't know how grateful I am that you're able to be here today to share this story. And it's not a story to share your real life events. It's a difference between a story and real life events. You're inspiring so many with your story today. Says, kudos to you. Kudos to you. And nobody wants to be known for stuff like this. My gosh, I know. Thanks for sharing your story. Thank you for sharing, sister. That's what Charmaine says. My mom said, "Good morning, ladies. I am in the virtual studio audience watching this very good show." Thank you, mommy, for being here today, too. And thank you, all of you, for being here. Right now, I know you're emotional and crying. But what's making everything well up at this level for you right now? What specific thought is happening?
I think the emotional part about it is because some of the people that made comments are my personal family members, and they've been with me, and they never knew this. But it's more like a release. Yeah, it's more like a release. It's not a sad thing for me or anything like that. I'm just glad that I am getting the opportunity to be able to, share. And people that really know my story know, I mean, and I did a fast forward, up to, is to let people know that, hey, some people just wasn't lucky like me. But I want women to know, and even men to know, that it's a better way. One of my passions is to help women and men to understand that all those things that statistic has used as a reason, or reasons why we don't leave. I was very much involved in statistics. I was a statistical person, and still a statistical person, because statistics said that certain things was not going to happen as a result of me being a victim. But because of the way that my mom and my dad raised me, and not only that, just believing in the Almighty God Himself. And I can tell you that I love the Lord, but if I never, ever in my life believed in God, that was one time that I knew that He was very much in charge of my life. Everything that I did, I consulted with Him. I never consulted with anybody else. That was a lonely period in my life. And like I said, I didn't tell my family what was going on. I didn't tell my family until the day that I left. And I called my mother and I said, "Mom," I said, "I left." And she was like, "What do you mean?" I said, "I'm not there. I had to go."
And she had no idea. She had no idea that any of
Well,
this had even happened.
well, my mom is the type of person that, she knew her kids. She know, that's just a mom's
Right,
instinct.
right.
So she always suspected something was going on, but she never could put her hands on it. And even today, that's the type of person she is. But yeah, I called her today. He was out there delivering milk. I was on the phone talking to him. And by the time he got ready to come home, I had already left. And I changed my phone number. I would not let him see the children. It was just an emotional thing. And my mom and my family members, they were very, very like surprised that even all of that was even going on. But
Where did you go? Did you go to a safe space? I mean, you don't have to reveal on the show exactly where your source was, but did you go somewhere that was like an agency type of situation, or a friend or family? Where
no.
did you go?
Remember, I said that I planned for a whole year to get my getaway. So my whole year in planning was to get me an apartment. And I used to say, coming from riches to down to nothing. Truly roach infested apartment. And I moved into a roach infested apartment. And he didn't know, where I was, but I had to do what I had to do to get out of that situation. And then once, I started revealing to my family exactly what was going on, then that's when my family, they always been supportive and everything, but that's when they became even more supportive in helping me, with my children. Fast forward, he took me through the courts. He tried to take my kids from me. He, said that I was an unfit mother. I was under the care under investigation from DSS. Now keep in mind, I'm a professional person, so I just couldn't believe that, hey, they were dragging me as if I really was a victim. I really
You're like, y'all,
abused
are you absolutely
yeah,
really done bumped your head on someone? You know goodness well I have
yeah,
a whole degree and I
yeah,
wouldn't be here
yeah,
asking for assistance if I
mhm,
really didn't need it, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's
So
like, don't
DS,
talk to me
yeah,
like that
yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
I'm in a temporary situation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So when they, had to go to court and we had a guardian ad litem and all of the stuff, and one of the crucial times in my life was when I had to sit and wait for a decision whether they will give him full custody or whether they will give me full
Of
custody
your kids
of
that
my
you're trying to
kids.
run and flee from the situation and trying to save your kids from harm's way in this particular or from their mama dying, right?
Right.
According to what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
that was very trying for me. And since then, after I left, my life has been going uphill. I have accomplished a lot of things. Um,
Oh, so
as I
sorry
said,
you had to
it's
experience
just,
this.
yeah, it's just, and I can say this is that one reason they say that women don't leave is because, can I afford it financially for me and my children? And that was one reason why I stayed. All of those things that they said, I fit into that category. That's
So
why I
all
didn't
of the
leave.
reasons that women give themselves, or men,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
primarily in this case, women
yeah,
give themselves as to I must stay because I'm not
yes,
going to be able to raise these kids by
yes,
myself. I'm not going to
yes,
be able to take care of me and the children on my own.
yes,
I'm
yes,
not gonna. I'm. Who else is going to want me? I got these kids now.
yes, yes,
Well,
yes,
did he really? What did I do in this situation that
right,
could have caused him to have to do this to me? Right?
exactly,
Maybe it was
exactly,
something if I would change this area of my behavior. I don't believe in
yes,
any of that crap. Just so you
right,
know, that is not Kim Jacobs. Let me all
yes,
put Kim. This is not the Kim Jacobs show. This is
yes,
Kim Jacobs personally. I
yes,
do not share in the philosophy that it takes two to do this and this be no. I didn't do anything wrong in that instance. That person did it wrong, and so it's on them. And
absolutely,
and that's just the
absolutely,
bottom line. I just feel like
absolutely,
you didn't beat yourself. You didn't beat him, according to what you're sharing. I'm only going by what's alleged going on this conversation here. That
yes,
you didn't go and haul off and be beating him. He beat you, right?
right.
And so, what did you do to deserve that? Can you tell me?
I didn't deserve anything. I didn't deserve that at all.
Right. My point exactly. So I don't share in the philosophy that, well, we need to analyze and look at what you could have done different. Get out of my face. This is crazy what you're saying because this is not accurate. So anyway, let me go on because I don't want to go too far. But let me go back to my magnifying glass to some more comments here. You did it. You raised your kids. Yes, you did it and you raised your kids. They are in or went to college and doing a great job. Tell us how your kids are doing.
My children are doing awesome. My kids are doing, especially, and I was, the one that I was mostly concerned about, and that's my oldest child, is because she was the one. And I'm telling women, for the sake of your children, get out because your children are affected. Period. She's the one that I was most worried about than anything. And I have to say, I brag on all my kids, but even in the midst of everything that happened, she has been successful at such a young age, and doing well. My other two children, they are doing well. They are very guarded and protective of their mother. The youngest one, and I'm gonna make a joke. She always say, "Ma, I'm really wanting you to get really need a stepdad now." And I'm laughing because I'm like, "Are you serious?" So
Yes,
she
way to
wants me to,
prophesy, child.
yes,
Prophesy over your mama's life. All of this professional wisdom that she has over there. It's time for her
yes,
to get her Boaz, right? Yes, yes.
yes. But I mean, Ms. Kim, I can say that at this point in my life, I am, I went through a period where it wasn't real. as far as me being happy, telling people I'm happy, and really deep down inside that I wasn't happy, but I can truly stand before the world and tell the world, hey, I'm a happy woman and I'm living my best life at the age of 60 now. So
60, get out of here. You look
yes,
amazing. I
thank
am
you.
so
Thank
excited
you.
that God kept you and that
Yes.
He kept you and brought you here on the Kim Jacobs Show to share your story. And I ask everyone, let's hashtag Sheila Murphy made it out.
Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
hashtag Sheila Murphy made it out. And she's
Yes.
here to share her story. Anita said, I'm so thankful that you got out. And I never knew, she said, I never knew your story. So I'm so thankful that you're sharing it. And I know that this will help someone else. Thank you so much, Anita, for your comments. Thanks for sharing your story. It's very helpful to so many people. And all of you all that tuned in today, I encourage you, there are some speaking engagements that are taking place. Let me put this flyer up. Tell us about this event.
This event is on October the 23rd at Club Mirage, where I'm going to be speaking, also, and probably going into a little bit more information about my personal story. But this is an event that we are going to be having on October the 23rd, and we want everybody to come out and enjoy yourselves and hear my story.
Make sure that you break your neck to get in the house to hear Coming from Beyond the Veil. Guest speaker is going to be Sheila Murphy on October 23rd, and it's at Club Mirage right in Charlotte, North Carolina. If you want to get more information, where can people go?
They can actually go to PayPal, Didi at 12, Deborah at gmail.com. And
Okay.
or they can see any of the members of Deborah. It's on Facebook, but if anybody needs or want any tickets, please reach out to me by email and or on my phone number that I think Ms. Kim shared
Yes,
earlier.
I'll put it right back up right
Yes.
now. If you would like to be in attendance at this event, make sure that you go ahead and reach out to Sheila Murphy. Her phone number is 980-477-7869. Sheila, I told you this hour would go fast, didn't I?
Yes, you did, and it did.
It did, right?
It really did. It
Listen, I'm
really
so
did.
grateful that you made it out, and I'm great. In any closing point, let me ask you one thing I would like for you to share as a closing point. What would you say to those people that are watching that are the violators, the ones that are actually doing the domestic violence? What would you say to them if they get a chance to see this one little piece of a clip? What would you say to those people?
In my closing statement, I just want them to know that what you have done or what you're doing is not just hurting you, it's hurting children, it's hurting the whole family. And when I sit and I hear people's story about the violator, it's like it's an illness. Go seek help. And lots of times they don't think they have that. And also, in closing, Ms. Kim, I want to say that there was a period in my life where I hated him. I hated the ground that this man walked on. But I also knew that, hey, I can't go forward with my life, or I can't get into heaven by
Right.
hating, because that was the word. I hated him.
That's
But
right.
now that my children are grown, I can actually sit across from the table and have a conversation with him. I'm free.
And do you have a conversation with him today at this point?
Yeah, I have had conversations with him.
And he doesn't try and touch you or anything, so he's kind of like, I'm done bothering you.
Well, my kids laugh because they said I'm the shortest thing in my family, but they say I'm a little fireball. But my kids always say things to me like, "Ma, Dad already knows what time it is. He knows." And my son, big muscular football player, kids. But my kids are always on point, ready for him to do something. I mean, they love their dad to death, but they love their mom even more. And my kids said to me these words, said, "Not ever again. Not only daddy, but no other man that you come involved with will ever put their hands on you again."
And okay, speaking of which, for the future here, Are you open to hearing what your daughter said, which is to get back on the dating scene in any way, shape, or form? Are you this woman that's sitting here before you, well poised, professional, matriculated? She done a lot of great things in life, but she will, she ain't gonna let you do nothing to her now. I can tell you
No,
that right
I'm
now.
ready.
But she is available if somebody is out there looking for a good thing.
Well, I would say this. I have a male friend, and he has really have accepted me, because not only did I go through some other things as far as my, what had happened to me as far as the children was concerned, but as far as being in relationships with the man, when somebody said you got baggage, I didn't even know what they were talking about. But this person has really, really helped me to be able to identify, you know what, you really had baggage. So he's I'm hoping and praying, okay, God, whatever, look, as you say, whatever the Lord says.
I
But
learned
he's
this is my
very,
good side the other day. I'm like,
yeah, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Cassandra, you
Whatever the
want me to
Lord
pull
says.
you in?
Huh?
Okay, we'll pull you in. Okay. I saw you showing your good side, right? That dimple over there.
I know. I see the dimple.
You think she ready, Cassandra? Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
I think she's more than ready, and I hope that he is ready for you. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, because you might be a lot to handle over there. All right, y'all, we got to get off this good show. Listen, the only way that the show is able to, you know what, instead of me saying it, because you might want to tell people how the show survives. So it's right there on the screen. Say something while you're on here.
Okay. Listen, studio audience. The Kim Jacobs Show, we air daily, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time until 12 noon. And we really appreciate the support that we get from all our listening and viewing audience. But, as they say in church, as if the Lord leads you, we welcome your monetary support, because really and truly, on a very serious note, we try our very best, the team and Kim and all of us, to be as professional as possible, and we want to have the right technology, the right lighting, everything that we need to bring you the best experience. So please support us. There's Cash App there, $ Kim Jacobs Inc. You can use PayPal, Kim Jacobs Inc. as well. We also have Venmo at the Kim Jacobs Show. Hey, if you see me in the store, I'll take it there. I don't know. just having some fun, but really and truly, we appreciate the support that we have from our valued sponsors, and we're always looking for sponsors, because we want to continue to do everything we can to have a platform to bring balance to the world, one household at a time.
All right, everybody. Listen, we thank you, Cassandra. I need to have you come on and do that more often right there. We might get some financial online contributors that say, I'm pouring into the Kim Jacobs Show, all because that dimple was showing today. See, if I ain't had a dimple right there, I don't have that dimple. So I just be like, come on, y'all. They're like, no,
The
we
good
need the
side.
dimple lady, and we'll pour into your show. Sheila, thank you so much for
Thank you,
being
Miss
here
Kim.
today.
Thank you, Miss Cassandra.
Yes, babe, it was such a pleasure to have you, and come back anytime. Yes,
Your story is amazing, and I really appreciate you sharing it. And I tried to make light of it at the end and keep it lighthearted and fun and dating and all that stuff. But you are a true survivor, and I'm so grateful that God just allowed you to continue to be here to salt this earth, because so many lives are going to change because you're taking the time to share your story. So thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thank
All
you.
right, everybody, that's today's episode. Tomorrow, tune in. You're going to actually see my story. I was being interviewed by this woman, Dr. Margaret Fournier, on health and healing. Her episode aired at 6:00 p.m. last week, but I'm going to re-air it at 11:00 a.m. on the Kim Jacobs Show, so that you can hear my story of how I live after loss. And so you'll get to hear that tomorrow at 11:00 a.m. And then on Thursday, we have a young lady that's graduating from the Kim Jacobs Show, and she strictly learned the back office. All she wanted to do was learn how to operate the back office so that she could serve in the capacity, kind of how Cassandra's helping me with the Kim Jacobs Show. She works the back office for a talk show host. So it's going to be a great way to meet one of the young ladies that graduated from our course. And I do think you should have a show, by the way, too. So we should talk about that right after. If you're a motivational speaker, or you are an author or business owner and you're looking to have your own show, go to KimJacobsConsulting.com. and be able to start your journey now. All right, everybody, have a great one. We have to disconnect. And I know Cassandra's like, get off that show. Bye-bye. See you later.
Bye.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kim Jacobs, host of The Kim Jacobs Show, where we're bringing balance to the world one household at a time. Listen, we go live every weekday, Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I bring guests on that talk about their backstories, things that they've had to overcome to become who they are today. Many of them are balancing and juggling life, and they've become experts in different fields. So they're sharing tips with you to make your life just a little bit easier. Many times as a guest in the studio audience, you'll get a chance to walk away with a missing piece of the puzzle that might be missing in your life. Let's go on this journey together, and I look forward to seeing you Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on The Kim Jacobs Show.